Good Saturday morning is December 28th, 2024. Going to be an interesting weather outlook here in the long range. In the short range, we have quite a bit of rain, which we really need as the drought's been a moderate one and, on the borderline of severe at times. So we do need the rain. And today looks just like a murky, cloudy day. You do see that the cold air damming is pretty much broken down now, although there's still a little bit of bends. You see those bends in the lines. It still could bring a little bit of cooler air into the region. But today it'll finally start to warm up a little bit. Tomorrow, big time, highs could be getting near 60. As a matter of fact, this is a pretty potent front that's part of this strong low pressure system. And it would not be surprised if we see some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon with this line when it comes through. It's going to dump a lot of rain fairly quickly. We'll see how much it gets, and I'll even look at the forecast here on the amounts of rain because I think it's important just to look at. Then we have a dry day, kind of shaping up, kind of chillier, cooler on Monday. Not super cold, though. Just a little chillier. And then as we wait on Tuesday, eventually this more compact low is going to come through and give us rain. Unfortunately, we're hitting time for New Year's. Probably right at the point that the ball's dropping. We'll also have rain dropping, unfortunately. That low is going to come through, and that's going to signify a start to turn to a much colder pattern here. Here comes the cold. This is cross-polar flow, meaning it's coming all the way from the other side of the world and North Pole and running into the United States. So it's going to be really cold. Remember, below normal temperatures this time of year are really cold temperatures. Highs below freezing probably for several days are kind of coming up. Exactly how this pans out in the long run, let's just don't get hung up. I mean, just like this week, right? By the 4th, a couple days ago, there was snow showing up over top of us. Today, it's dry, which I thought was more likely going to be the forecast, but which is something we were watching. There's a little disturbances that run along this colder jet stream that could be something bigger. But late in this period, something does kind of get going. Here's a disturbance going through the mountains, and maybe a little bit of snow into southeast Virginia. But now we're really far out there. We're, Saturday, we're a week from now. And so we'll see if things, will look like. But we look cold. I mean, it's going to be a cold next weekend for sure. Kind of breezy, too. Look at these ice bars are pretty packed in there. So cold, breezy conditions. Not going to be fun to be outside. I would not want to be outside next weekend. It's going to be cold. Then we kind of get this relaxing. Now, one thing that's noted in our weather world of mind is that when a pattern goes from one extreme to the other, or it starts to loosen up from its most extreme, that's usually when a storm gets going. And we can see there's some low pressure systems starting to form along this area, and there's one in the south, one in the north. How these things interact, what exactly happens, and how it comes together is going to be very interesting because it looks like eventually a piece of energy is going to get itself together and cause a storm to the south. This one pummels southeast Virginia and North Carolina with a monster snowstorm. Is that right? It's possible because this is such a cold air mass here, that it could suppress storm tracks really far to the south, and we would be on the northern side. A la like 2019 or 18 or something where we got mist just to the south. Very possible this could happen. I mean, I don't want to say, we're talking 250 some hours away. I'm sure it's going to change quite a bit. But something happened around the 10th, 8th through the 10th here, seems to be a pretty big signal on the forecast models. That one 100% whiffs or misses us, and then maybe a follow-up something or other, and then maybe relax in the pattern. We'll have to see. I don't know if we'll really relax or won't relax. We'll have to see if it gets warmer or not. We're at the middle part of the month at this point. Who knows if this is going to come true, and whether or not we warm up. But in general, usually around the 15th of January, there's something called the January thaw as things kind of shift weird, so we'll see if that comes true. In general, though, the most important thing to call out are the heavy rain and potential thunderstorms tomorrow, a much colder conditions by next weekend. It's going to be really, really, really cold for probably a week period. And when I say really cold, I do mean highs freezing. It will be hard to reach maybe a few days. And nighttime lows could get down into the single digits. We'll have to see how far or how cold it gets. You think this is cold? The European goes absolute nuts with cold, like really cold. We're talking below zero type cold if it comes true, but we'll see. Cold and dry though, and then maybe something towards the end of the period. All right, let's look at the amounts of rain here. So here's the rain over the 7-day period, showing over an inch of rain. Interesting little dry slot out here to the west. It's just the trajectory of the rainfall, and it's true on models too. I saw it. So let's see the next 48 hours because that's going to show us. So hey, maybe not as much rain as it once was showing because I think that front's a little more skinny than it was at one point as it moves through. It does get a little more energy as it gets to the east and gets some moisture off the ocean, and that's why the higher rain amounts are shown to the east of us. So anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain seems possible. As I mentioned, some thunderstorms are also possible in this setup. So let me show you the thunderstorm outlook. So here we are. This is an outlook for tomorrow, for Sunday. So it was issued today for Sunday. Look, marginal risk of severe thunderstorms. I think it's true because of the winds. Don't think anything else other than winds here. As you get further south, though, if you look here, this is the tornado outlook. Down in central South Carolina into central North Carolina, there is a tornado threat because this low, as I mentioned, 993 off to the northwest, that is very typical of causing some vorticity or some turning in the atmosphere that is possible. For us, as you see here on the Storm Prediction Center, the wind outlook is what we would have to look out for. It's just a marginal risk. It means that it could happen. We'll have to see if this expands any. It expanded a lot from yesterday. It was way south of here. Now it's much closer. We'll have to see if that expands any more at all. Maybe some hail there in Southwest Virginia as well. So, I mean, it's something to watch. It's not atypical to get a strong storm to come through and cause some, damaging winds possible. This is a strong thunderstorm or strong low pressure is what I'm trying to say. But, saying it's in our backyard is a far stretch at this point. But something to watch out for sure. And lastly, here is the temperature outlook. This was issued yesterday. And look how cold. I mean, they're saying we're definitely in a cold period. Remember, cold in January, very below normal. We're talking 10, 15 degrees below normal. When we're in the low 40s for highs, 15 degrees is 20s. It's not going to be a good period. So obviously, thinking about animals and other things, it's not going to be fun, fortunately, for farmers and stuff like that. I know it's a pain with people who have livestock to take care of them. But also check your heating. Maybe time to clean your filters if you haven't done that in a while. Get some new filters in your system. Get ready. Even do some weatherproofing. Actually, that's kind of on my list here to get some weatherproofing in because it's going to be a cold shot for sure. And look at that, an 8 to 14, so in the longer range, still solidly in a very cold pattern. And if I could show you the week 3 and 4, similarly, we look below normal as far as the outlook. And at that point, precipitation goes above normal. We look normal for the next 2 weeks, but then above normal possibly then. That is the point of the pattern breakdown. So don't be surprised if we go from really cold to warmer and rain. It would not surprise me at all. Here's the precip outlook. Yeah, the 6 to 10 looks below normal because, hey, when it's that cold, it gets pretty dry. And the 8 to 14 day period, just an equal chance, normal outlook for precipitation. Anyway, there's a long outlook, but it's very important to note that we're going to have a big weather change coming. The start of it is even tomorrow. And I think by Tuesday, we'll start to really get a clearer glimpse of what's going to happen in the long range. So when you hear about storms and rumors of storms and where the snow is going to lie, don't start really thinking anything at all. At this point, the pattern recognition is there that around the 6 to 10 day period, the January 6th to 10th, somewhere in that period, there's going to be a storm system, something along the East Coast. That's a pretty strong signal, and no trouble saying the signal is for very cold conditions. Have a great Saturday. It's been your Loudoun County weather long outlook.